and welcome to Career Spotlight with Vanessa Ajamai. So, today I'm really looking forward to introduce the guest that we have. Before I do, remember to subscribe to this channel and turn on the notification in order to hear more amazing career journey stories. Today, I have with me Angela Chellappah, who works as a recruitment manager with Charity People. And I recently got connected with Angela through my husband, as Angela supported him in securing a role. So without wasting much of time, I'll introduce Angela. So Angela, thank you so much for agreeing to come and share your career journey today.
Thank you so much, Vanessa, for having me here on your newly launched YouTube channel. And it's a pleasure to meet you and hopefully get the opportunity to share more of my experience and my career
Yeah,
progression.
great. Thank you. So we'll go straight into it. And could you, although I have said that you're a recruitment manager, could you tell us a bit about like what you do right now with Charity People?
Sure, of course. So I joined Charity People in 2021, and I mainly look after finance, IT, and facilities related roles, predominantly managing finance on a permanent and long-term contract basis.
Great, thank you. And so prior to that, what was like before joining Charity People? What was your background?
Sure. So I came to the UK in 2006. I came here, completed my master's, and I just got into recruitment because um, just going back a bit further, I did double maths, and I wanted to become a pilot, but
Wow.
as an international student to England to do piloting was way too expensive. So
Oh,
my parents wanted me to become an accountant. I didn't want to go down that route because I just wanted to become a pilot. And here I am recruiting accountants.
yeah.
So yes. So I completed my studies, and then I got straight into recruitment. I worked for Manpower for about 3 years. And prior to that, I worked for FMC. It was a childcare recruitment organization for about over 2 years in Manpower. And then I joined Morgan Hunt. That's where I became a specialist recruiter in finance, and moved to TPP, a specialist recruiter within the charity and not-for-profit sector. I was there for 6 years. And from there, I came here to Charity People to join my managing director and a couple of other directors who I've known for quite some time. So that's my career journey.
Great. So quite some well-known recruitment companies, as some of the names rings bells to me. How did you find the transitions from moving across those various companies?
Um, I give myself quite some time, say for example, like FMC, it was childcare, and I'm not someone who believes in moving very quickly from place to place. So FMC, that I was there for about 2.5 years, and that's where it was very different to what I do now. We were given a list of contacts, and we were just asked to call and get jobs. But that really being pushed into the deep end helped me to grow as a person in my career.
Yeah.
And then it's about embracing change, being adaptable, learning every day, and just having that drive, passion to wanting to deliver. And I always wanted to get into sort of finance recruitment because it's one of the most challenging recruitment out there. You have big players and candidates are quite scarce. So yeah, it's been amazing, the journey so far. Challenging, but amazing.
That's nice. So you specialize within like finance recruitment, like you mentioned. How do you build like your expertise within that in order for you to like do well and ensure that you get the right candidates for your clients, etc.?
Um, I learn a lot from my candidates and my clients because I'm an open book. I'm very transparent with my candidates and clients. I always tell them I'm no expert in finance, so I'm learning from them. So it's about having that open mindset, wanting to learn, and by doing that, and also reading the news, knowing what the market is, what's happening, the trends, knowing, basically doing a SWOT analysis on almost a monthly basis, um, and knowing what the trends are. So does that answer your question?
Yeah,
Or
it does. It does. Thank you. And what do you enjoy about working for charity people?
oh, oh my gosh, where can I start? I would say the people, charity people. I
Yeah.
mean, that's the only reason I joined
Yeah.
charity people. Because, we are very big into equality and diversity,
Mhm.
and respect, not only for our external stakeholders, that's charity, I mean, your clients and candidates, but the people who work here. It matters a lot. It's about having that respect, working in collaboration, and having a genuine interest about and being proud of the place you're working for. Absolutely. I'm so thankful to my husband for pushing me to join charity people, I should say.
Uh,
And I've not looked back.
yeah. And you mentioned about knowing some of the directors at charity people. How has networking helped you in your career so far?
I would say being yourself, uh, being authentic and never burn bridges. I'm still in touch with my manager from back in 2007, 2008.
Oh, wow.
And I'm still in touch with my manager from Manpower, from Morgan Hunt, and just having an honest and a genuine relationship. Of course, I'm not calling them every day, but I
Yeah.
think, if you don't forget your past, uh, and be thankful for, for all the people who helped you in your journey. I think that's, and I've been quite lucky because, my director, I've known him for 7 years, and
Mm.
same with, um, my managing director. I worked with him when I joined TPP, or rather, I knew him when I joined TPP. That was in 2015. So I've been very fortunate that, they gave me this opportunity to join the team. So yes.
That's nice. And some people might want to know, what does the whole recruitment like life cycle look like? So could you explain a bit about the process?
What do you mean what do you mean by
Yeah,
recruitment
so
life?
like from the point at which a client has the demand or the need to fill their spot, how that looks like from whether they then contact charity people. Do you guys have to go through like a procurement process to gain a contract? And then how then your role, like at which point you come in to then put that out, that someone else deal with that kind of basically that process to then get the whoever the is taken on board for that role is onboarded.
Of course. Okay. I would say depends from client to client. Um,
Okay.
for example, when I used to work at Manpower, we
Yeah.
had big massive contracts,
Yeah.
like Royal Mail and NHS. But here at Charity People, it's more about being very proactive and going out and getting clients and candidates. Again, I remember back in 2007, 2008, you hardly make any sales calls calling to introduce yourself. Jobs just come in. You send out one CV, 10 clients might want that one candidate.
Okay.
It has changed a lot now. You send out one CV to 100 clients, you'll be lucky if one person gets back to you.
Really?
Even just to say thank you. So, yes. So it's about consistency, just having that determination and constantly call your clients without giving up. Because again, when I say we all have to remember, prior to COVID, you pick up the phone, someone on the other end will answer the phone.
Yeah.
But now people hardly answer the phone. So you have to email them. You have to make sure that the data on the system is correct. If somebody has left, you update the data. So you have to constantly keep revisiting and in a way be a bit aggressive, but in a very subtle, polite manner. But you be aggressive to yourself by not giving up. And then when you get a job or get a client, you just being honest and telling them, because again, I can just slightly refer 5 years ago or 4 years ago, you have a finance officer role. You can easily submit about 8 or 9 CVs. Now you have a finance officer role, you're looking at maximum maybe 2 or 3 quality candidates. So things have changed a lot. So it's about being honest with the client, just setting the expectation, the reality, and also honest with your candidates, because a lot of recruiters out there, sometimes they might forget about the candidate. They might go, okay, you know what, you go in, if it sticks, it sticks, if it doesn't. But it's so important that you care about your candidate and want the best for them and for the client. The way I see it is, I always use the analogy of Lego, because when you are doing a Lego, even if the piece is slightly not fitted, the entire thing doesn't fit properly. So it's about really caring about and knowing your candidate and caring and knowing your client, and finding that perfect match, at least perfect, as close as perfect. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. I find it really interesting how there's been such a shift, like in terms of like demand and stuff. Do you know like what has contributed to why there's such a
Yeah.
change in terms of
Yes. Charities in the past, I would say people, their mentality is, oh, charity, we've been in the commercial sector, we've earned our money, let's go to the charity, now let's sit and retire.
oh
But the market has changed, the world has changed, everyone has evolved. And charities and not-for-profit organizations are evolving constantly. So, for example, like the Syria and Turkey appeal, and especially with the current climate, not a lot of people can afford to just take the money from their pocket and donate. And charities and not-for-profit organizations are thinking about this. So the shift has come by charities recruiting very sharp people and implementing brilliant systems. And that sadly results to people being made redundant. And And when system takes over certain functions, charities no longer need a big workforce. They'll reduce the workforce. And that hence the shift. And also people, you're looking at very few very good candidates. And I certainly do not believe in submitting 10 CVs to a client, because
Mhm.
they might as well go and do the job themselves. And also it's the trust you have with the candidates. So you're spending a lot of time meeting your clients and candidates. So I rather submit one or two brilliant candidates as opposed to many. So it's about, a lot has changed in that sense.
Yeah, thank you. How long do you spend when you get CVs in?
Few
And going through
minutes,
them? Because
sometimes seconds.
I've heard, yeah, I've heard seconds, and I kind of think, how do you absorb the information?
I'll give you I would say second. Within seconds, you will know. If I'm
Mm,
in doubt, I always call.
yeah,
I'll give you an example. For example, like placing your husband.
yeah,
Um, he did not have any charity experience, zero
mm,
charity experience. All his experience has been in commercial, and that too very new to the UK.
hmm,
But just the way he came across, the sharpness, the wanting to deliver, and he was like a sponge. He just absorbed everything. And when and following your gut feel,
yeah,
I just absolutely loved meeting him,
mm,
and his drive, and he coming across so genuine. And
mm,
when I put him in front of the client
yeah,
with two other finance officers with charity experience, my
mm,
client, who's a 20 million turnover organization, said he came across as the best candidate because the way he delivered. So, it's about following your gut feel, and also giving, you as a recruiter, you will know when you speak to a candidate
yeah.
whether they are genuine or not.
Mm. That's really interesting.
Does
Yeah,
that
the
answer
importance
your
of the
question? I'm
yeah,
sorry,
it
a
does.
little bit,
No,
I was diverting a
no,
bit.
no, it does. But also on that point, I'm just wondering, for example, I'm sure there'll be loads of factors like what level the role sits in, etc.
Yes.
But what kind of like tips would you give to people applying for finance roles in general in terms of their CV standing out?
Wow, it's so very wide
Yeah,
question, because
yeah,
people think charity sector is a very easy sector, and
mm,
it's very easy for people to get in. It's
yeah,
commercial to charity. But there's something called, I'm talking about the senior, on the senior and something
yeah,
called a charity SORP. So for commercial candidates coming in to the charity sector, if they do not have this experience, it's very difficult for them to manage a team, to do the accounts according to charity SOP. For example, like your husband, he going in as a finance officer, he has now broken into the charity sector.
yeah,
And then also he going into a 20 million turnover. It's a brilliant way for him to now start the progression, because a lot of commercial candidates are dying to get into the charity, but they can't, either due to the personality, the way they come
mm,
across, or they are on very high salaries and they do not have this charity SORP experience. Um,
okay,
so you either go in as a finance officer or finance assistant, but really deliver. Because again, to touch on your husband, he was on quite a low salary at his previous organization,
yeah,
but he he went the extra mile and took on a lot of responsibilities, which allowed him to gain experience. So he was not hung up on the salary. He educated himself by taking on more experience, which helped him to get into pretty large charity and a very sharp team, which is going to help him to go further.
Yeah.
On the senior level, I worked with a couple of heads of finance where I'll never forget this particular candidate. He was on a salary of 250,000 per annum.
Wow.
Yeah. And he wanted to get into the charity sector. And I told him I can't help him, that he will need to go in as a trustee or a treasurer, gain experience through that. And then I might be able to help him. He remembered me. And 3 years later, he called me and said, I'm now a trustee of Age UK, one of the Age UK.
Yeah.
Can you help me? And I placed him as a finance manager for £50,000. From 250, he dropped to 50,000, where he was processing invoices, doing the bank reconciliations, dealing with doing literally from start to finish. And then he was there for about 2 years, where he built the finance team from scratch. And then he left the organization. And I placed him again in another NGO on a 6 months contract. Because he was like, now I've come, I've gained experience. I want to now move. And he's looking at retiring pretty soon. So it's about candidates. The basic thing is being able to take things on board and adapting and wanting to take drops in salary, especially if they're on a very high level.
Okay, thank you. And could you explain some of the employment types that there are, such as permanent, fixed term?
Sure. So I would say there are 4 main employment types.
Okay.
First one is permanent. Second one is contract. Now, contract can be, in the sense, contract is usually it's a 6 months or a 3 months or a 9-month contract or a year contract or an 18-month contract, where the person is on the client's payroll. They are paid as on a monthly basis. Then the third one is a temp, where you are on a day rate or an hourly rate. And the fourth one is a temp to perm. So clients like to try before they buy fully.
Okay.
Those are the main 4.
Okay, thank you. Are there any, I think you've kind of touched upon some of them, but if there are any other myths about the charity sector that you might want to debunk?
I would say people should realize that charities and not-for-profit organizations have moved forward. They've evolved a lot. It is a pretty demanding sector. It's not a sector where you are no longer, you can just sit and stay till the day you retire by doing things slowly. Absolutely not. The charity sector is a demanding sector. And if you are sharp and if you really have the passion, because some clients, from my experience, do not like the word, oh, I want to give back to the sector. They really do not like that. So if any of your subscribers or, if any one of your friends or family want to get in, they should really research and find out whether they want to go in and work for that organization. I'm sorry, I'm going to keep bringing your husband because he's a brilliant example. I was so impressed because I asked him, I just told him only to research, but he went the extra mile and he had even looked at the organization's financial statement. Now, even on a middle to senior level, some candidates don't do that. And I have to remind them, please look at the financial statement. And when I asked him, what do you know about this organization? The answer he gave,
Yeah.
I'm so impressed. And I was saying, if you don't get this job, I swear I will cry. And I was the happiest. And believe me, I think he finished his interview within 2 minutes. I was on the phone to him.
Yeah.
I received an email saying they want to offer him the job.
Yeah.
So it's about really researching and wanting to really work for that organization as opposed to, oh, I want to give back. So the candidates should know that the sector has changed and they are looking for very sharp individuals.
Thank you. And this is quite a broad question, but how do you see success? Like, what's your view of success personal to you? Yeah.
I would say continuous learning. I personally, it's moving this massive mountain. So it's about having that drive, really working, not really hard, but working smart and continuously wanting to learn and being open to learning. I think that's when you will be successful. I would say it's quite hard to measure success because you reach one point, you will want to reach another and another. So it's about just having that, the passion. That's it. Like, to really, because there are days when things will really get me down because it's not just work. It can be family, it can be the weather, it can be the economy, it can be the political situation. Thankfully, here we are not facing the political situation like in Asia, Africa, and in South America, or even earthquakes like what's happening in Turkey, what happened in Turkey and Syria. But not every day. So it's about just being thankful and having an open mind, and then I think you'll be successful in all what you're doing.
Great, thank you so much, Angela. That's been really eye-opening. Loads of things that I'm sure the viewers will be able to pick from and use. I don't know if you have any other final words as we've come.
I'm just trying to see the questions. I would say if you are passionate about what you want to do, or just be yourself and go for it. And on a final tip, I would say when it comes to interviews, especially for your viewers, just be yourself. And if you don't know something, be honest and tell the interviewer that you have never done that, but you would love to learn. Research, do a lot of research on the organization before you attend an interview. And also make a note of where you're applying, because I speak to some candidates who have no idea where they've applied or the role they've applied.
Oh, because they've applied to that many.
Exactly. So just, so these little points, to just bear these in mind, and just being yourself is the best the best gift you can give yourself when it comes to, and give examples. That's it. So
Yeah.
there's something called competency-based questions.
Mm-hmm.
So for any competency-based questions, just give examples. That's it. You'll never go wrong.
Yeah. Thank you. That's
You're
been
welcome.
really helpful. Yeah. Thank you so much. So guys, I'm sure you've taken a lot. Continue to stay tuned in order to hear amazing stories just like this one. So yeah, thanks.
Thank you, Vanessa, and I wish you the very best.
Thanks, and you too.